Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about brainwashing and how you do that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start recording on my iPad so I can put that up, minimize myself, check out the screen behind me. Okay, so with this being said, what we talked about yesterday, the video is great, but you don't necessarily have to watch it. Your thoughts control what you do. Your actions shape your environment triggers your thoughts. It is a circle like this, and one thing that you can do is change your environment. One of the ways that we talked about changing your environment is put a piece of paper on your desk with thoughts that you want to have more often, and that way as you read that piece of paper, you'll basically deepen the neural pathways and make it more likely for you to have those same thoughts in the future. So now we get to the idea of, okay, so what thoughts should we put down on that? And this is just a very, very first draft of, actually the second draft, but it is still in the primary stages of writing out what I want to be reading daily for my brainwashing. I call it brainwashing just because it's kind of what it is. Sure, it's goal setting, but like I find it fun to think of it as brainwashing, so we're gonna go with that. Make your own damn system. With this being said, it's similar to The World's Greatest Salesman. You're gonna read this 2 or 3 times a day. I do say 2 to 3. No shortcuts, no negotiate. Like literally, do not do shortcuts. Read this word for word. Do not skim it. Do not pass go and collect $200. Do not make this into an audiobook and then listen to this while doing other stuff. Read it out, make the time. Part of this is if you can read this out twice a day, every single day, you have your shit together enough and you're actually focused enough so to do a lot. It is a certain degree of getting it together you need to actually have in order to read this twice a day. And it sounds easy, but we're going to talk about this later in the document, the idea of the internal lawyer, that voice in your head that negotiates, oh, we don't technically have to do that. Or couldn't we just slide one day? Making yourself read this every day will identify that voice and help you kill it. And that's really what you want to do. Okay, the oath. This whole idea is based around this one concept. There's nothing I haven't ever been able to figure out if I focused on it. I'll throw off all waste and distraction to focus on becoming the man I know I can be. So the first one is a given. I've lived life. I've been the best at wrestling. I've gone undefeated. I've graduated from UMass Amherst Engineering, top of my class. I was the top of my class in high school. I've done that stuff. There's nothing I haven't been able to figure out. I just set my mind on it. Therefore, I'm going to throw off all waste and distractions and make myself into the best version of myself that I can be. And part of that is this idea of designing a system, because sure, you can be good, you'll stay good for a while, but why do you eventually backslide? And we're going to talk about that later. I call it derping. It's literally right here, but we have this one little paragraph I'm going to read first. So part of these distractions for me is sugar that hijacks your dopamine system. And once I have sugar, my mind just wants more sugar. And I'm not really going to be able to focus on much. Online chess. This hijacks my dopamine reward system again. Also, I start playing habitually where I'm just moving, especially with time chess, not really thinking. And it throws me into this derping state, which we'll define right here for those of you who are new. Random YouTube videos, why? They're not going to help you. They're really just a distraction. Along with that, anything that trades my future for cheap dopamine, vaping, porn, weed. Lots of things can fall into that category. I don't waste my time by working for low dollars, and I don't burn hours saving money, valuing my time at nothing. That's basically what it is. Don't have a certain degree of know what you're worth. Don't work for less than that. If you're not getting money, then you might not be worth that much. Anyways, value your time. Don't value your time at nothing. Don't drive 10 minutes to go save 20 cents on gas. And then, I mean, if you're not worth much, invest that time into building up yourself. I mean, no matter who you are, you can always invest time into yourself, invest time into having your brain work better. And that's kind of what the system is making you more conscious. So I choose long-term strength over short-term relief. Play the long game. That's really what that's saying. Derping. What do I mean by derping? For everyone new here, this is a word I got from Owen Cook. And I watched some of his videos. They're pretty good. But I'm going to make it a lot shorter and a lot more actionable than what he says. Anyways. Derping is comfort. It's low agency. There's nothing forcing external. There's no external force demand forcing excellence. It's not mainly procrastination or being scattered. It's the slow choice of ease, convenience and dullness over sharpness and self-command. It's the thought, why run at 100 when 60% is keeping me alive and comfortable. Now, you're not necessarily having this thought, but your brain is. It's in a state of energy conservation pretty much always. It's metabolically expensive to have your brain working really fast. So unless it needs it, it's going to chill down a little bit. And the cycle that this normally takes, especially, I mean, we're into February now, but with New Year's resolutions being 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, we can say, you have a moment of clarity. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change my life. Then you make overcorrection. You cut out whatever the bad habit is. You go to the gym. You start reading books. Then over time, you start relaxing. You're not thinking about it every day. You're not focused on it enough. You start coasting. And then, even though this is split into 2 lines, what eventually happens is settled decay because you start negotiating. That is what kills it. See, your whole system still works. This is still working. Even though it's relaxing, it's still working. So what I'm talking about here with the brainwashing is when after you correct, and I mean, you say overcorrection, I say correct. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be overcorrection, but you make some sort of correction. Well, I'll say overcorrection because it's more than what you're capable of taking control of and maintaining. So how do we, if this is the cycle that it normally goes down, we want to avoid negotiating with ourselves. That's the lawyer voice I talk about. Oh, you don't need to go to the gym today. You could skip it. I mean, you could have a donut today and you could still accomplish your goals. Oh, we'll go to bed for the next video. It's you know the voice is wrong, but you're like, oh yeah, I'll just listen to it. I'm sure we'll be fine. So that's part of it. You want to cut out negotiating, and then you want also cut out this relaxation and coasting. So if we can disrupt upstream, we won't get down to the negotiating, but these two sort of happen together. Well, very quickly after. You start relaxing and then you start negotiating. And negotiating is also part of the relaxing on the rules. So if I say I'm going to go meditate for 10 minutes every morning, I might start negotiating with myself. I'm going to sit down on my meditation stool for 10 minutes every morning, whether or not I'm actually able to meditate. So I just relaxed the rules, made it easier, and now I'm not actually doing the thing I said I was going to be doing. And like, I don't know, 10 days from now, I'm like, well, it's kind of stupid. I'm just sitting there on my stool not doing anything because I can't meditate because my mind's too full of stuff. So I'm just going to start working on tasks in order to get through this giant to-do list in order to clear my mind. Well, now you just went from having a meditation practice and having a bird's eye view of what's happening in your life to not having anything. And you literally logically followed the things. Oh, my mind was a little bit more foggy than normal. I'm having trouble meditating. So instead of meditating for 10 minutes a day, I'm going to sit on my meditation stool for 10 minutes a day. It's technically kind of the same thing. I love seltzer water. I like it when it hurts. The purpose of this system. The purpose of the system is to allow me to find what the minimum required upkeep. The purpose of the system is to allow me to find what is the minimum required upkeep. I did read that right. Yay. What that means. in order to stay in a conscious state, how do we define consciousness? We're going to go back to this document from yesterday's video. You have a thought, and then that thought, basically, you can ask yourself, you have this whole section that can take place between the thought and then the action down here. And you can ask yourself, do I want to act on this thought? Will it benefit me? Would my best self do it? Then if the answer is yes, so do I want to act now? Then you act, or you can capture it. And if the answer is no, you can dismiss the thought. You can try to understand why you're having it. Like, this is what being conscious is. It's this whole system right here. Because, as you say, you can't control what thoughts come into your head, but you can influence them. You can influence them by taking action on good thoughts. And when you take action on good thoughts, you then shape your environment and it improves, which then acts as a trigger to have more good thoughts. So it's a self-completing cycle. So this is what being consciousness is. This is what being conscious is not acting, is having space between the thought and the action, because otherwise you're just a program operating. And this is kind of why I understand when people talk about how there is no free will. It's like, no, you have free will, but you need to practice it. Like, you need to practice saying, do I want to act on this? Will this benefit me? Would my best self do it? If you do not practice this skill, you lose it. And then you become a drug addict. And a lot of drug addicts, they don't have consciousness because they never ask themselves, do I want to do this? They're just going through the motions. It's when, like, you see someone or someone's called an NPC. It's like, this is what it means. It's when you're just going through the motions. So let's make sure I clear off everything. Yep. Okay, so if you made it into this far, you can see my own personal shit. This system starts off, so really, I named the phases wrong, but I can move that around. You have the moment of clarity. It gets triggered by something sharp, maybe a conversation, a mirror moment, a comparison, or sudden awareness of wasted time. You snap out of it and feel resolved, decide to tighten things up. So this is what we talked about up here, moment of clarity. Then you have the overcorrection. You start your journaling, planning, cleaning habits, discipline, that bring you a sense of alignment. This is when things are good. But here's the trap. Once alignment returns, the system relaxes again. Okay, we're doing good now. And the drift begins again. Now this is not a character flaw, this is homeostasis. If you don't build anti-drift structures, you will always slide back. And this is what I'm doing. I'm building the anti-drift structure here. You rise when there is an felt occasion, danger, purpose, responsibility, or a self-chosen challenge that forces you agency. If you watch the movie Gone with the Wind, like, once she goes off to the south and they're shooting cannons at, I think it was Mississippi at the time. Like, great movie. Gone with the Wind is an amazing movie. It shows how, like, this like lifestyle where they're all out on their farms having parties, what I'd basically consider derping, and then, like, everything's great and wonderful, and then the war comes and everyone's panicking, and, like, she goes from being this, like, old Southern belle to now killing a soldier who's trying to, like, steal her money. And I think he might have been trying to rape her at the same time. I'm not sure. But it's a great movie. The movie Vision Quest is also a really good one. But we go back up to the top here. You start coasting. So this is really coasting over here. This is what it kind of feels like, especially for me. You're comfortable. Things are low friction. You're comfortable. Things are low friction, and you're not really oriented towards the future because you don't have a clear goal with steps to reach it. That lack of clarity makes it hard to know what matters, so you keep consuming just in case content, which is stupid YouTube videos or too many podcasts, because part of you worries that you might miss something important. You stay present, focused on pleasure, which shows up as too much sugar, porn, shorts, online chess, and pushing real work aside for far easier, more immediate, rewarding activities. Cell decay. You start negotiating with yourself. You start to feel a slight mental fog and drop in self-respect, mainly because you begin negotiating with yourself instead of acting cleanly. Time starts slipping, days don't match your plans, and you can't get done what you intended. Underneath it there is a background anxiety. You don't want people asking what you're working on. For me, this would be my business. You're worried about money, and you start looking at other job opportunities because it feels safer than facing the gap between what you want to do and what you are doing. So, and then you have the moment of clarity, you start pulling it together, and yeah. The anti-derping rules. When life feels small, manufacture occasions and set deadlines for projects, such as marathons, BJJ, tournaments, something that you don't need anyone else to accomplish. Write a SMART goal. And as we talked about above here, not really oriented towards the future because you don't have any clear goals with steps to reach it. So part of this is there's an acronym called SMART, and there's like what they call SMART goals, but it stands for SMART, and that is specific, exactly what you do, the action, not the dream. Measurable, how measurable is success. Number, clear output. Achievable, realistic within the current timeline, skills. Like make it so you can achieve it and kind of you stack up the wins. Relevant, directly tied to something that you actually care about. And then time bound, a deadline or schedule. This is important. The time bound is what keeps the agency. If you can go to bed later, if you don't necessarily need to work out today, if you can skip going to the gym or have that donut because your goal isn't like soon enough in the future that doing so would affect you, or you could smoke weed and go to bed late and start scrolling through the night. Like if that won't mess up your goal, then you'll do those things because there's no reason not to. That's something to keep in mind. Kill the internal lawyer. If a thought starts with technically is the lawyer speaking, label it and end the debate. Promises are pass fail, aspiration only wins, don't turn moods into vows. I thought I rewrote this section. Anyways, this is an old section right now, but yes, kill the lawyer voice. If you do any of this stuff, you'll hear a voice negotiating and basically trying to slacken the things off. David Goggins talks about this. He went to the gym once and he said he was going to do like 100 pull-ups. He only did like 95 and he left. And then he was on his way home. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go back there. I'm going to do 100 of them from like all fresh. And so like that's, he killed his internal lawyer, that internal voice that negotiates on the side of mediocrity. And that's part of how he went from being in that fat derping state to becoming a warrior. Week 2 warrior. Kind of what the channel's named after. I mean, not necessarily always agree. I mean, he found a way that worked for him. I think there's other ways of going about it. But I'm going to explain to you the path of how that all works while doing it myself and from what I've seen and experienced, and I'll be documenting that on the channel. So anyways, the reset ladder. This is if I notice myself starting to slip, if I notice myself playing online chess, if I notice myself like wanting to hit nicotine or scrolling on my phone, I can do these activities to kind of bring myself in check. What did I say that down here? Compulsive phone loops, sloppy attention, friction aversion. So not wanting to start difficult activities. Yeah, so break into 3 parts. One is, I always find this very effective. Drink a ton of water. So this is a kombucha jug. It is 1/3 of a gallon. A little bit more. I'll chug that thing, take 2 salt pills. Well, 2 grams of salt pills and 1 gram of magnesium. And it kickstarts your brain and your metabolism. And if you're very dehydrated, or you've already consumed a lot of salt, you might need to drink more water than that. Basically, if you feel nauseous from over consuming electrolytes, drink more water. For me, I know 2 salts and 1 magnesium works. It might not be the same for you. Start off less and then increase from there. If you feel nauseous, chug as much water as you possibly can and then get close to a toilet, because you're either going to feel really good in 5 minutes or you're going to puke and then feel good in 5 minutes. It's basically just having too much electrolytes. And then go for a brisk walk with the phone. You're kind of just breaking the cycle, and the water does that. It really helps bump up your brain function, hydrate you, and it's a great way to wake yourself up in the morning. Like, I'll just say that. I'll especially do this if I overconsume sugar. I don't know the exact reasons for why it works, but it does work. If I consume sugar, I'll drink a crap ton of water, take salt, go for a walk, and now my brain isn't like buzzing or excited, or like it's not seeking more sugar, and I can get work done. Plan B is, so protocol B, phone goes away. I have these light compressors back here from Costco. They're great. I also have calf massagers. Put them on. They help your mind focus on something. So if you're having trouble meditating, you can also practice mindfulness by just having some external thing, whether or not it's like a bed of nails or lying in the sun or a fan going on your face, or something external that you can put your attention on that's easier than your breath. So phone goes away, use something for 30 minutes. And then if I still want to, I can do, I said that was 4 rounds. Anyways, 4 rounds Wim Hof breathing. This gives you a huge flow of dopamine and a big head rush, somewhat similar to nicotine addiction. Not nicotine addiction, hitting nicotine. It's like a huge flow of dopamine and other fun brain chemicals, and it gets you high for like about 3 minutes. It's all breath, and I found it to, I mean, it's not addictive. It's not that bad. So, and it also helps, I don't know, read Wim Hof's book. He has like a whole 6-hour spiel about why it's good. I just use it because I find doing it for a while helps reset that part of my brain that really craves dopamine. The last part is just slow nasal breathing. Go for a walk outside, splash cold water, a quick shower, and then do something productive, which is why I'm calling it builder task right here. And those are there's 3 things. Typically I don't go for a walk after I chug the water, but it does help. Getting out of the house can also help. Just resetting your environment, which can then change your thoughts. You would have a particular movie you like watching, even though that could take a while. A particular song that snaps you into a better mood or a more focused mood, or reminds you of something, or of why you're doing this. You have a video compilation that you make yourself of clips that speak to you and you feel moved by, and you could watch that, and that could help. There's a lot of things to do. I'll talk more about that later when I talk about the big system. But anyways, with this whole thing, part of it is establishing activities you do every single day which help you to maintain your focus and expand your consciousness. And I'm going to be adding I need to add meditate. I meditate to this because, as we talked about here, meditating helps create this whole space between your thoughts and your actions. Also, mindfulness, which is just spending less time on your phone or giving all of your focus to one thing at a time, or just noticing the thoughts that pop into your head, because that also helps a lot. But the current practice I have, which I've been doing for over a month and a half now, is I do 10 minutes of yoga where I focus on breath every morning, and each pose is either triggering an inhale or an exhale. So if I come up to a lunge, I breathe in. If I go for a twist, I breathe out. I'll make a video talking about that. I also do 30 minutes of journaling a day where I look at the system. I look at what I talk about over here in this video. I identify like triggers and I try to remove them from my environment. I write down thoughts that I have, and like if I've been thinking about something, I'll write it down and I'll try to work my way through it and understand why I have this thought or what the logical conclusion of this thought is. Because I have some really interesting thoughts, and making time to write them out is interesting to look back and read them, and also to see where they can take me. Then we have this loop right here. So when you feel any cravings for scrolling porn, avoiding tasks, weed, escape, nicotine, do a breath loop, which is just basically breathe into the body, relax, don't get caught up in the thought, feel what you want, identify what's blocking and what the smallest true action is, and then return to the breath. Get rid of this idea of I'll be satisfied when, and we talk about it over here. You have this wall you kind of build up in your brain. You're like, I need blank to be happy. It's like, that's the wall you build, and you don't actually need that to be happy because you can just go around it. And if you focus on this wall, you realize that it actually just like dissolves into nothingness. Okay, last off is things that you just do not do because they're harmful to the system. So porn is not an outlet for sexual energy. So basically embody it, use that energy, do something with it. Don't just get rid of it and throw it off. Then also no weed. Two very destructive things, porn and weed. One wastes your energy and your time, and the other one makes it feel better and more novel. Get rid of both of them. They are horrible for you. So now we have like tier 2 structures. So these are still important, but they're not necessarily the most important for me to do. And I'm still working on classifying them and seeing which belongs where. But these are like, do this every single day, regardless of what the hell happens in your life. These are, do them, just make sure these get done first. So if like anything ever happened in my life, I should be able to maintain this. I should be able to do 10 minutes of breathing and movement a day. Whether it's even just my neck and breathing with... I should be able to journal for 30 minutes a day. Phone, paper, something. If a plane falls, or unless I'm dead, I should be able to basically do those two things every day. This is a little less. I try to do them every day, but I don't necessarily have to. But like, well, it's more so I do them every day, and I should be doing them every day. But if I miss them one day, it's not bad. If I miss it for 2 days in a row, then that shows a clear sign of decay, of focus, and that I'm starting to backslide. If I miss these, If I miss these for 1 day, then that shows I'm backsliding. If I miss 2 days of these, then that shows I'm definitely backsliding. But it's tier 1 versus tier 2. I'm still working on this part of the system a little bit, but basically what I have, the ones in bold are the ones that I actually are like, yeah, I'm going to do these. The ones in that are not bolded, like drink a bottle of water, I'm like, yeah, they're good, but like not really that important. Like they help, but they're nice add-ons. They shouldn't necessarily be in the tier 2, so I'm going to be moving them out. Again, active project. For this, I have, in addition to the yoga, basically 10 minutes of stance motion, I want to be world-class in jiu-jitsu. Practicing 10 minutes a day, some solo drills, watching tapes is like literally the minimum I can do to maintain that goal. Then literally minimum, deep work block, 60 to 90 minutes per day. I do find this to be very helpful, taking a break, using the calf massager and resting, because it helps energize you, and I find it a lot more effective than caffeine. Well, not necessarily more effective, but healthier long term. We also have 10 minutes of no input. Like, I mean, I have these in for audio quality right now for when I'm recording this, because I think that they actually work a little bit better than recording directly onto my phone. But otherwise, like, you'll see people going throughout their whole day with their headphones in on their phone. I'm just saying, minimum 10 minutes a day, just put down the technology and notice what's around you. Great, I'm going to be doing this more and more the more conscious I get, but anyways, this is just bare minimum. Then night before, I always plan out my day the night before. I write down, do this, do this, do this, this. It almost never actually goes to plan. Stuff happens, but writing down the order of tasks I want to accomplish. So I kind of set up my morning. I'm like, wake up, drink water, do yoga, do wrestling drill, meditate, journal, and then this is the most important task I want to get done this day. And then once you finish that task, this task, and then once we get down to here, I'm like, oh, spend an hour on this, spend 20 minutes on this. Like, it, and doing that helps, because it's like, you can, if someone gave you 10 hours to write a paper, you could go on, mess around with all the formats, make it all neat and nice. If they give you an hour to write the paper, you could write like a close paper, but like, you just be like, how do I get down what is actually needed for this? So there's a certain degree of agency that stops you from wasting time and spending time on formats, especially when stuff isn't needed. So by giving yourself deadlines, you kind of push yourself to work at a faster pace and figure some of the stuff out, and not like slack off or watch a video while doing your activity, because like, oh, I'm trying to get this stuff done. I also do add catch-up times throughout my day, because as people, you suck at predicting the future. You suck at trying to like estimate time. Even after doing this for 10 years myself, I still suck at it. So I give myself like 30-minute catch-up windows where I'm like, stuff will happen. Things will go over. Other people will request my help on certain things. To give you an example today, I was journaling on my computer and my drive ran out of space. I then had to look at my drive. I had to download a software to do it, go through and see what documents I could get rid of using GPT, what wasn't necessarily there. Apparently my Acer laptop had a bunch of bloatware on it that Acer like put with it. And I'm like, I have Photoshop. I don't need Acer's 2 GB thing for looking at photos. I'm like, I have CapCut. I don't need Acer's thing for editing videos. Yeah, so stuff happens. You need a way of adding in buffers so you don't get over stressed out. At night, phone stays downstairs. Bringing your phone to bed is horrible. Listening to your phone while falling asleep is even worse. It gives you this like literally the thoughts going through your head when you're by yourself at night, lying in bed, waiting to fall asleep, are very important, and you should be paying attention to what the hell those are. If they are not happy thoughts, that should be like your number one thing, is how do I improve my life so that like my thoughts are happy? Because otherwise you're just hiding from your thoughts. Like, you first need to identify what's going through your head, in order to fix it. If you hide from all of it, then you cannot fix it. Your brain is trying to point something out to you to fix it. And because of the miracle of the smartphone, we have the capabilities of distracting ourselves 24/7, where at no time before in our lives could we possibly do that. So wind down, and then just consistent bedtime. Very important. Helps with the... Actually, I just flip back. Don't have shades on my windows. I go to bed with... I go to bed around 9 to 10, but I wake up with the sun in the morning. It comes through my windows, and it's great. It's feedback. It's like, oh, you don't want to go to bed on time? Well, you're waking up with the sun anyways, so now you're just going to feel tired throughout the day. Enjoy that. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm definitely going to be more focused on not letting my work run late and getting to bed on time, because I hate going to bed late. But I hate not getting much sleep. Weekly, I'm going to edit this one right there, but it basically comes down to make YouTube videos, clean the house, organize. I find if I do this, I then am able to be more focused during the week, because I know I'll clean up everything later on. I'm kind of OCD. So if I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going to clean up this weekend, I can kind of ignore disorganization and push it aside. And again, I'm just OCD. I'm literally OCD. I will compulsively vacuum the house. I say compulsively because I'll be late to wrestling practice, which is something I absolutely love to do, because the floor is dirty and it's driving me nuts. So call it what you will. Vacuum the whole house weekly. And by weekly, I mean only do it 1 week. For me, it's not like, oh, make sure you do it weekly. It's like, no. Make sure you only do it weekly. Like, don't do it 5 times a day. I never did 5 times a day, but like, don't do it once or twice a day. Ship out every 3 days. Have to ship out. This is like a bare minimum. Don'ts, shorts, sugars. Don't eat my sister's food. She has really good snacks. I don't often go out and buy snacks. So I haven't been eating her snacks, but that's also part of it. You set up tripwires, which is basically things that let you know when you start slacking. So if your routines start falling apart, then you're downsliding, you're relaxing your system, you're allowing negotiations to take place, especially since you're reminding yourself that this is what you want to do, so it stays front and foremost in your mind. Therefore, if you don't do this, you're either negotiating with yourself saying that you don't have to do this, and you don't have to do the reading, or like that's it, because you write this down and I put this on my desk. I will then look at this document for multiple times a day. I could even copy this up, open a widget on my phone, put this in the widget, so every time I go on my phone and I scroll past it, I see it. Like, there's ways of doing this where you force yourself to have the ability to look at it. Now, as long as you read it, it'll then be front and foremost on your mind. So there's no excuse of, oh, I forgot. Because if you're forgetting, then you already started negotiating a while back, and you need to, like, get back into it. Be more focused on it. There's hard tripwires, which really come back to the different modes, which we skipped up above, and we're going to talk about later. There's also tripwires for craving, which is like naming the craving and doing breathing exercises, realizing that it's just a wall that you built in your head. And yeah, that's version 2 of this. And if you haven't checked out yesterday's video, this one, talking about how to control your thoughts, the whole system, great. Highly recommend that. Peace out.